Hi, this is Chris with DVI, and today I'd like to take a look at some of the password recovery tools that we have available on dvirx.com. First, I'm going to demonstrate how a lab can add a new or existing ECP to its membership, and then I'm going to show how an ECP can use our recovery tools to log in. So to start, I've navigated to dvirx.com, and I'm just going to press this center button to get to the login screen. And again, I'm entering my information as if I were a lab. Now that I've gotten to the main screen, we have a few options here. First, I want to take a look at the Add New ECP button. So this option is used if you are setting up an ECP that has not yet used the ArcsWizard and doesn't have any information in the system. So we're going to be prompted for several fields, the first of which is the username. This is what the ECP is going to use as their login username. It's also worth mentioning that despite the shorter name I'm using in this example, we suggest defining a strong username with a bare minimum of 5 characters that contains letters, numbers, and is potentially mixed case with both capitals and lowercase characters. However, these rules are not enforced. What we do enforce is that you cannot use spaces in your username, nor can you use special characters aside from the ones listed in the bold green text. The account name is how the ECP is going to be saved within your membership, so it's just more for your own reference. Then we have a lab account number. That's the number of their account at the lab. And then we have some basic information for location. You might notice we also have some optional fields for contact person, phone, and fax. Down at the bottom, you'll also see a documentation link. This is a document related to the desktop version of the ArcsWizard and its recovery tools, but you might notice that there are a lot of similarities between this recovery process and what we're going to take a look at in a second. But now that I've got all of this information added, I'm just going to press Insert, and that is going to add a new ECP to the membership. You're going to see that there is a web ID that was automatically assigned to this ECP, and there's also a temporary invoice number. This is going to be important to remember because the ECP is going to have to use this information to log in. If this is a first-time login, that is. They're going to use it to recover their information. So now that we have all of this information, I'm just going to head home. So similar to the Add New ECP option, we also have an Update Existing Ecp button. And this screen looks very similar to what we just took a look at, and these are similar fields, but these are for ECPs that are already using the ArcsWizard. So you're going to enter the information in a similar process to what we just took a look at. And then if they want to generate a new invoice number for password recovery, we have that option here as well. So if you have an existing ECP, you can still provide them a temporary invoice number if they want to log in. To the right, we also have an option up top. This is for adding, or rather changing a lab account for an ECP in your membership. And then we also have an option to delete an account from your membership. Now that we've taken a look at how a lab can add an ECP to its membership, let's take a look at how an ECP can use the recovery tools to log in. First, we're going to navigate to dvirx.com/m/ECP. We're now taking a look at DVI's web entry tool. This is very similar to the ArcsWizard desktop app, both of which need to be licensed through the lab. Both of these also have the recovery tools I'm about to demonstrate. Once we're there, we should be greeted with a login prompt. Typically, an ECP just needs to add their username and password to log in. But if they've forgotten their password or it's a first-time setup and they don't know their password, all they need to do is press the password recovery button at the bottom. You're going to be prompted for some basic information similar to what you might see in the desktop version of the ArcsWizard. You might notice that there are 2 sections for labs. That is if an ECP is performing work with multiple lab groups. Otherwise, in our case, we just need to enter information for the one lab we're doing work with. I'm going to enter the account number that was assigned to this ECP, the zip code of the lab, and the temporary invoice I was provided. Now you can also use any invoice that is less than 10 days old, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the generated invoice from DVIRX. Now I'm going to press Reveal Username and Password. I'm going to see my username, account name, and password. This is an auto-generated password by our system, so we might want to change it to something more memorable. You can see that it's now updated the password. I can exit, and my information will already be filled in on the login screen, so I can log in to dvirx.com. That's all for this tutorial. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.